Ms. Lofgren?
Yes, I'd ask unanimous consent that a New York Times article, GOP memo shows roadmap for attacking Democrats on immigration be made part of the record.
Without objection, Ms. Jackson Lee.
I thank the chairman very much, and I thank you for your presence here today. And as well, let me try to remind my friends on the other side of the aisle of the historical record of this country. Mr. Secretary, I hope it is not a personal question, but you had a history outside of this country in terms of your family coming from somewhere else. Is that not correct, sir?
Congresswoman, I myself am an immigrant. My family came to this country as political refugees fleeing the communist takeover of Cuba.
Let me applaud you for your service to the nation. I think, as I've said in previous comments, the Statue of Liberty still stands in the New York Harbor. I assume you have seen it on one or two occasions.
I most certainly have, and I should say that what this country gave to my family is what led me to public service. First as an assistant United States attorney, then the United States attorney, then the director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, then the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security, and now the Secretary of Homeland Security.
I'm glad I allowed you to provide that into the record, because the antics of my friends on the other side of the aisle are so without reason, it is difficult to even follow in questioning. To even suggest that the past administration had an immigration policy is absurd. Because I stood in the place that you stood watching the reunification of separated children. There was a glaze of disbelief in the child's eye as to who this person was. Was it their mother? Why had she abandoned them? It was the most criminal aspect of that policy, and I don't know how anyone could cite that as reasoned and reasonable. But let me move to what we are here for. And the general sentence, my time is short, that I want you to enunciate, is that in fact the administration does have a policy. If the scientifically based section, Article 42, is scientifically removed as it relates to the pandemic by CDC, you can just say yes or no. You have a plan.
It is a public health authority that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
But you have a plan if it is removed.
Oh, most certainly.
That's the question I have.
Most certainly.
So it is yes.
Yes.
So let me go to specifically to Pillar 5, which I think is the crux of what we are speaking about. And that is we are targeting and disrupting the transnational criminal organizations, TCOs, and smugglers to take advantage of and profit from vulnerable migrants who seek to traffic drugs into our country. Can you, because I have one or two other questions, briefly talk about the scourge of human smugglers? Even though people may be coming for economic reasons, fleeing prosecution, and that is something that the federal government can put all fours on. Do you intend to deeply go to disrupt this criminal organizations, if you will, that prey on the very people that are at the border?
Congresswoman, our intensified efforts to tackle the human smuggling organizations are historic.
Give us some elements of that quickly, please.
Historic. We have a number of different operations, both within the Department of Homeland Security and across the federal enterprise, using the Department of Treasury to seize bank accounts, Operation Sentinel that Homeland Security Investigations runs to tackle and dismantle their infrastructure, working with our intelligence community partners, working with the Department of Justice in Operation Alpha. We have so many different multifaceted efforts underway. It's really unprecedented, the level of intensity that we are bringing to tackling the transnational criminal organizations and the human smugglers.
In the course of that work, let me also say that there are organizations like CBP, Border Patrol, ICE. I want to make sure that your administration also, as they do their work, and I applaud them for their work, and I do want to as well acknowledge the individual National Guard Specialist, Bishop E. Evans. I want to express my deepest sympathy to his family and my respect for his service. We honor him. But I want to make sure as we go forward, you infuse into all of that the idea of equity and justice in terms of those migrants and others who are treated under these particular agencies, sub-agencies. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, Congresswoman.
So let me quickly go to an issue that continues to be spoken about by Director Wray. is that the largest threat to the United States is domestic terrorism and the increase in white supremacy. And I don't think it has changed from a couple of months ago to today. Give me the deep dive that you've done on thwarting domestic terrorism, particularly the rise in violence against minority institutions and faith institutions, and how we are protecting Americans through that effort, please.
So our efforts are so expansive, I won't be able to cover them all, and I would be pleased to provide further information to you, Madam Congresswoman, subsequent to this hearing. Let me give you two important examples. We created a domestic terrorism branch within our Office of Intelligence and Analysis, and it has been disseminating an unprecedented level of information and intelligence throughout the nation to our state, local, tribal, and territorial partners so that they are equipped with our latest intelligence and data so that they can counter the threat. We created the Centers for Prevention Programs and Partnership, we term it CP3, to equip and resource local communities with information and funds so that they can tackle the radicalization to violence. It's the connectivity to violence that we are focused upon so that they can ably do it. Our frontline personnel, our brave personnel in uniform throughout this country are the first line of defense.
The gentlelady's time has
Thank the
expired.
gentleman. Thank the Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.